What's good, everybody? It's your boy SCraftBlendz back again with another barber tutorial. I know it's been a minute, but I am back. So today we have my man Eliyas in the chair. Eliyas actually is a YouTuber. Him and his lady have a channel called Aeiloveu. Definitely go subscribe, support, and check them out. So anyways, as you can see, he has a lot of hair on top. We're going to probably cut about half of that off. And the color is, you know, kind of jagged around the fade area. So what I'm doing now is just coming in with some clipper over comb, and I'm going to work that all the way around the head so that we can just kind of clear out some bulk and fade into that. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So as you can see in the back, I'm kind of dropping just a little bit. You know, we want to still keep that back area around the crown a little fuller so we don't cut, you know, too deep into that crown. But yeah, we'll comb some of those hairs down, just make sure, and you know, they're combed down so we can have a better foundation to blend into. Now I'm going to jump into the number 3 guard. And as you can see, I'm using my JRL 2020 clippers. I've had several people ask me, you know, hey, what's your thoughts on the JRL 2020s? You still fading with them, or have you gone back to your seniors? And honestly, I don't even remember the last time I picked my seniors up, which is crazy because I am a Wall Seniors guy. Honestly, I love the blade that's on the Wall Seniors, the kind of fade blade it comes with. However, I went ahead and took that fade blade off and just put it on these clippers, still using the same cutting blade on the JRL 2020s, but just use that flat blade. I just like the way it feels. However, I just ordered 2 of the JRL 2020 fade blades, so I'm going to take those senior blades off, put those on when they get here. Excited about that. So once again, we kind of use that number 3 to kind of clean that line up, knock down some of that bulk, and then I took a number 2 and just faded right into that number 3, doing more of a drop fade, or a fade down technique rather. And now I have either the number 2 closed, because I like to start with the number 2 open. First I did the number 3 close, I believe, and then I did the 2 open into that 3 close, and then I closed the number 2 fading into that 2 open. I actually think I have a 1.5 on there right now. So I did a 1.5 open first into that 2, you know, just slightly dropping down a bit, and then close the 1.5 just to clean up the rest of the hair. And that's as short as we're going to go on the side, except for the taper. So we're going to go ahead and do more of a high taper. This is how I do mine, from the corner of the ear just kind of up to the end of that vertical bar. Shave everything off underneath, make sure we have a good foundation to work with. And usually whenever I use my Wall Seniors, I jump to the next step, would be blade fully open, and I just slightly close it as I work my way down. But what I love about the JRLs, I fade different with them. I just, you know, being it was closed already, I opened the notch one time and I just pushed that up, that little guideline up just a little bit. Then I open the notch again and just push it up just a little bit, and I open it up again. And usually around 3 times I'll do that, and then I just open it fully up usually and just go into that. Sometimes I'll go through every single step, like first notch, second notch, third notch, fourth notch, and I believe it has 5 notches. But there again, sometimes by that 3rd notch, man, I just go ahead and open it up and go straight into it. So now with the number 1 guard on there, I'm just going to try to knock out this line that we've already gotten. And you know, I'll use the corner of the blades, the full blade, just try to knock down some bulk, but then I use the corners to do most of my detail work. And then I'll close that number 1, you know, and try to knock the line out that we see. And then usually I come in with a half guard and try to tie, you know, all of that together. I also know that because the top is kind of thick around the parietal ridge area, whenever I go up with that number 1 open, it's going to create a darker line. So I end up coming back with a 1.5 just to try to tie it all together and just really, you know, blend that in nicely. So as you can see, a lot of the times I'm using corners of the blade or corners of the guard. However, I know my hand's in the way, I apologize. In the back you'll have a better angle, but I just kind of go in and just try to knock out most of the bulk with the full blade. But then when I'm doing detail work, as far as knocking out lines or dark spots or anything like that, or trying to just, you know, make the transition better from the lighter to the darker, thicker top part of that fade, I'll use the corners of the blade just to try to knock that out. So like I said, there was a darker line there, which made that taper look a little higher than I wanted. But as I attack that dark spot, it gives it a better transition, so it doesn't look as high, which you'll see in just a little bit. Which, you know, I like the higher tapers, obviously, you guys know that, but it'll just look like it transitions a lot better as I knock some of that bulk down. So I did the 1.5 open and then the 1.5 closed, just trying to tie those together a little bit better. And then I'll come back in towards the end and see, that's already looking better. So it looked like it just stretched that blend out, you know, a lot better. Which actually, when you stretch it out, when you tie that together, it just makes the blend look like it drops a little bit lower, which is cool. So now I'm coming in with that number 1. Just open and then close, just tapping at little dark spots, you know, just trying to, you know, make this blend look a little bit buttery, you know. So anyways, now I'll come in with that half guard, and I usually don't open the half guard all the way up. I just usually open the half guard halfway, and then I just work my way to closed. So that's what I'm doing now, just hitting the corners, trying to tie this thing together, knock out any lines or dark spots. And as you know, I always come back at the end with either my detail clipper or with you know, my little shear over comb technique. However, I think today, I'm using JRLs right now, I think I come back with my my JRL 1000s and do some detail work at the end. However, there's times that I'll break out my my Gamma Ergos and do detail work with that. I like the Ergos for doing detail work. And just so you guys know, if you were planning to get anything from Gamma, if you go on the Gamma website, when it comes to the place when you're ordering, you know, where you can put a discount code in, if you use S.Craft 10, all capital letters, no spaces, S.Craft 10, you can get 10% off your whole purchase. So they recently reached out to me and was like, hey bro, we appreciate, you know, just all that you're doing for us, you know, and we'd love to extend a discount to all your subscribers. And I was like, cool, I'm down with that. Anything we can do to be a blessing to the team, you know, we'll make that happen. So anyways, being already did a lot of the 3 all the way around, jumped right back into the number 2, opened and closed, and then put a 1.5 open, you know, kind of blending into that, and then close it towards the bottom. Just there again, smoothing everything out, giving us a foundation to do this taper into. Come in, set my guideline, and clean all that up, you know, with the trimmers, and then we'll hit it with the shavers. It's good to have a system in place. It just helps you to stay organized, but it also helps with speed as well. There again, most of you guys know that I just try to hurry up and lay a foundation, and then I come back and do my cleanup work at the end. So that's what I'm doing now. So now there again, clipper was all the way closed. Right now it's all the way closed because I put in a harsh line with my trimmer, and I'm just tapping at that line, open it one time, tapping at that line, just raising it up ever so slightly. I'll open it up again, right there, tapping at it again, just raising it up a little bit more. And I may skip the 4th click, or I may go ahead and just, you know, hit the 4th and then do the 5th as well. But yeah, for me, with these particular clippers, I don't like doing that with any other clipper. However, I really like doing it with these JRLs. It just, for me, with these particular clippers, it just does that so nicely. So as you can see, we just went ahead and opened it all the way up, and there again, just tapping at it just a little bit each time. And as you can see at the bottom, man, that blend's already, you know, looking good. Obviously, we haven't hit the 1 or anything below that dark or above the dark line to knock that dark line out. But everything from bald to fully open blade. It's looking pretty good. So now I come in with the number 1 open, and I start below the line, but I carry it up pretty high just to go ahead and blend into that 1.5 that we did earlier. And then I'll close that number 1 and work at that dark line. Probably won't get that dark line out with just the number 1. So we're about to find out. Usually when I have a guard on, I either go fully open or fully closed, unless it's the half guard. But anyway, so now we're tapping at that line with it fully closed and just trying to blend it into that 1.5, or excuse me, 1 open that we just did. Yeah, that line's not coming out with the number 1 closed. So I'll go ahead and put on a half guard here in just a minute, and we'll tap at that line with it halfway open, and then we'll close it until we can pretty much get that line out of there. And then sometimes what I'll do is, go back with no guard at all, just using the corners of my blade and just, kind of tapping at different areas to knock any lines out. So right now, I go back and forth between halfway open and closed, halfway open and closed. So it just helps me to make this thing a little bit more blurrier, knock out any lines. But there again, with the half guard, I never open it fully, either halfway open or closed all the way. So yeah, there's still some little areas that we're gonna have to hit with just the blade itself to blend it in a little bit better, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Knocking that line out pretty good. All right, there we go. We in there with no guard, probably open blade at this time, and I may close it here and there, halfway or something, but just tapping at that line, just trying to make sure that we're knocking out any lines and it has a good gradual blend to it. I love doing back tapers because once you get them things looking, pretty decent, when you put the line up on the side, doesn't that just look beautiful? Whenever you do a taper and then you hit it with the line up on the side, like right here, just boom. I love in the video the other side that we do, you get a better angle of the other side, and it's one of my favorite things. I love seeing it just come together once you put a line on it. But there again, so we're laying the foundation, and then we'll come back in, clean it up with our detail clippers in just a moment. So for time's sake, so that you guys can get the information, but not take 30 minutes to watch it, I'm speeding this up so that way we can you can still see the steps. Same thing we did on the other side. So basically we started with that number 3, trying to create a good line where that blue is. And it's important, if people have colored hair, whether it's blonde or blue or pink or whatever, that blue hair has a good line. Obviously lines aren't always a good thing, but if you're going from a fade to colored hair, I always try to just have a decent line, so whenever I style it, it doesn't look real choppy. It looks more smooth, like the color was put on there intentionally, right where we cut it at. So same thing, did my first guideline, balled it out underneath, and then notch by notch, just slowly pushing that line up. And I'm sure this would work really good with the masters as well. Maybe even other clippers like Gammas and stuff that have the notches, Babyless, the Babyless clippers. However, I usually use the Wall Seniors. They don't have the notches, so I just open it and then go from there. So as you can see, I jumped into the 1 open, 1 closed. Now I have the half guard on there. Half guard halfway open, and then I'll close that half guard all the way, and then I'll probably take it off. Take it off and just tap at those lines and try to clean that up. So after I get done cleaning that up, I'm gonna put a line in the side of it. He asked for a line, and to be honest with you, the line comes out a little fatter than I wanted. Thankfully, it wasn't like a part in his hair, like, you know, that he would comb, like a comb over part. It's more of a design part. So if you get a little fatter, it's okay. But messing with the camera, trying to do things, and I just made the line a little fatter than I wanted to. But at the end, I feel like it still looked good. But, you know, there again, I just wanted to keep that in there because you guys will see we all make mistakes. But look how that looks. I love those sharp lines. So as you can see, I went ahead and kept this side of the video on here because I wanted you to see the line towards where it curves down. I accidentally nicked a little bit more hair off than I wanted, so I just had to make the line a little fatter to kind of, you know, let it flow all together. So as most of you guys know, I do more of a clipper over finger effect whenever I cut the top. Sometimes I use shears, but basically it's the same technique. I'm just using my clippers to do it. I'll cut all the way back and then I do a cross cut. So now, just to clean it up, see how I'm going up with my clipper while the comb is horizontal. The reason I do that is it gives me a little bit more control, and I feel like that it makes the fade a little bit smoother. But I just want to make sure that we're creating that nice smooth transition in the parietal ridge area, but also trying to keep that color looking as consistent as possible. Now in the back, because just the way it was growing or whatever, we don't have the best consistency on the color as far as keeping that sharp line, but on the sides we did pretty good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw some product in here. I can't remember if I'm using some kind of gel or paste. I think I went with paste. I cleaned up his line under his bangs because he pushes it up and he wanted it cleaned up under there. So now I'm just hitting it with the razor. And yeah, just styling it a little bit. So now, like always, I'll come in and I'll just clean up with my detail trimmers. And this is just, you know, trying to make it, you know, extra smooth, trying to pay attention to any details, using corners, just tapping at dark spots, and just anything that I see that needs to be hit. And I'll do that on this side, I'll do that in the back, and I'll do that you know, on the other side. Also, you know, as I'm spinning him around, like right now I see a little bit that looks like it's hanging over in the back of the haircut. I just go ahead and, you know, knock that off and just clean things up. But so now we're cleaning up the back of the neck. Always clean up the neck really well. Usually I pull that shirt down really far and try to get down, but he didn't seem to have a whole lot of hair in the back. And then I hit it with the shaver, hit him with that alcohol, and boom, there's the finished cut. Hope you guys liked it. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell. And until next time, God bless you guys. Peace.